Well. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Democracy Theater, where we walk around in the area or the crossroads between comedy, politics, and new media. However, since it's just politics alone today, we are going to talk about Batya Ungar Sargon. Now, she's one of the journalists that shows up on Bill Maher, CNN, Fox News. Um, she is a uh, she's advertised as a Democrat, but she certainly has turned into a 100% Trump supporter. Which, whatever, that's good. I'm not mad at that. You can do whatever you want. Nothing bad about that. However, she's a journalist that that I follow because I think she's smart and because I think she knows what she's talking about. So, and I do think I've mentioned this before. So after she kind of went on the MAGA side of things, which by the way, I always thought of her as a Republican. I never thought of her as a Democrat. So she center right. She comes across. She claims to be a right wing populist, uh, which to me is the scary kind of populist. However, um, she was on, and I. So first of all, if you really want a deep dive into her and her politics and how wrong she is as of late, Crystal from Breaking Point did a radar on her a few days ago, or a couple days ago. Was really good. That was really good. But for me, or the reason for this little thing on her is because I mean, look, we all make mistakes. We all say dumb shit. However, I don't really think that many of us don't know how inflation works. So the reason I'm talking her is because talking about her here is because she is prominent and she's out there and she is invited everywhere to talk about Trump populism. Here we go.
I don't think he's going to
Do
comment.
you know what would have really helped? What would be a really good idea right now to help bring down inflation and make sure that things keep running smoothly? It's dropping interest rates. Why doesn't he do that?
What?
Why doesn't he do
that? So interest rates, if you were to drop interest rates, you would stoke inflation. Thank you.
You would give the business community.
So watch this, right? So she now realizes that she said something dumb, right? So watch the switch. Watch how she switches it up. Watch.
A little bit of support to get them through what is going to be a you would give the business community.
Would stoke inflation. Thank you.
Okay.
You would give the business community a little bit of support to get them through what.
But that wasn't she was talking about, right? She was talking about inflation. She wanted to lower the interest rate to fix inflation. And now suddenly it's about helping the business community. By the way, that also stokes inflation.
Is going to be a difficult time as we reorganize the economy.
Oh, by the way, why are we looking? She talks about in the other clip. Never mind. I'll get to that.
In order to restore dignity to the
You know what else would help? If you didn't wildly put tariffs in place that don't make any sense. That would probably help more.
Where do you think the tariffs?
I don't think.
So that was a really cool switch we saw there, right? She went from literally talking about lowering interest rates, and that's because, of course, you got the marching order from the Trump administration. They want to put pressure on the Fed to lower interest rate, right? So she's out there talking about lowering interest rate. First, she says to make it better for us, and then it's suddenly about the business community, right? So I want you to remember that. I want you to remember how she switched it. First, she wants to help us. Look at that. I mean, it's not fully functional yet, but shout out to BPC 157 Freaking A, that shit works. Anyway, so she talks about like how she you know, her spiel is the working class. Everything is about the working class, and Trump is the hero of the working class. She talks about interest rates. First, it's about to do it for the people, and then she switches it over. Oh, no, it's to help the corporations. They need the help. To what? To build? What? Anyway, so here's another clip with her. And I think it really follows up on this. Let me switch over here and then go back.
And a person who half my family was murdered by the actual.
Okay, so this is after Curb Your Enthusiasm guy wrote that thing about that comedy bit, obviously making fun of Bill Maher, going to talk to Trump at Mar-a-Lago, which, by the way, I think was fine or whatever. But he writes this piece, and now she's on here. And Bill Maher didn't actually slam her. He just said it wasn't my favorite thing, but he didn't actually slam him. But anyway, so here we go. It was Larry Davis, Hitler as a mocking him, and he didn't slam it.
Hitler, you know, in addition to it being deeply offensive to Jews, to call Trump Hitler.
How is it offensive to Jews? How is that offensive to Jews? Why is she pulling the Jew card? It was written by a Jew about somebody I believe has some Jewish blood in him somewhere, but was raised Catholic. So how is this an affront to Jews?
Is to call over 80 million Americans, 35% of Jewish Americans, 56% of Hispanic men, and the majority of Americans who make under $100,000 a year, Nazis, because those are the people who gave Donald Trump his victory. And I just have a pro tip for any Democrat.
Look at the fire coming here. Look at this. Look at this performative fire coming here.
Who are thinking about winning back the working class, those people who make under $100,000 a year.
The people that she wanted to lower interest rate on, so inflation would skyrocket even more. As we are, you can look it up today, apparently 40% of the container ships coming from China are now half empty because nobody is fucking importing anything. So everything is going to get more expensive.
A majority of whom voted for Trump, you should have a visceral disgust for someone like Larry David, who's worth $400 million, sitting there and sneering.
I don't know how much she's worth, but I know she wrote a book or two. So she's at least a millionaire. So excuse me, a working poor, paycheck to paycheck motherfucker. I don't need you to fucking speak for me either. Sorry, didn't mean to yell into your ear. But honestly, I don't need you to yell. I don't need you to speak for me.
And smearing the hardest working Americans.
Not smearing the hardest working Americans. He wrote an essay, which I couldn't read because it was behind a paywall, and I'm a broke motherfucker. She's supposedly defending me. So it's behind a paywall, but he wasn't mocking her. He was mocking the Bill Maher's, and I thought it was funny, little take on what it was like having a meeting Donald Trump. I thought it was fun. It wasn't a big deal. Larry Davis wrote it. He did it funny, I'm assuming, because Larry Davis is pretty funny if you like his type of humor. And here she is. By the way, again, the woman who wanted to make life harder for the working class by lowering interest rate and skyrocketing on inflation that's about to go on overdrive.
For refusing to co-sign their own disinheritance. That's effectively what they are doing.
Trump is not doing anything to fix that, right? Subaru just said today they're moving their factory out because they sell more Subarus, except for a certain kind, in Canada. So they're going to move it. Honda is thinking about going back to Japan because it is the same cost or cheaper to make it in Japan than to start all over in America with the tariffs. So again, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Trump is we're out here for the working class. What the fuck has he done? The biggest thing they want to push through now is more tax cuts for the rich. What has he done?
When these millionaires come out here and call Trump Hitler, they are calling working class Americans Nazis because they chose the person they thought.
No, they are not Nazis. And this whole thing, every time, this is the thing, right? Our language was destroyed, so we do not have the words to describe what is going on today. Hitler did more things than kill Jews and gays and gypsies and the undesirable and the handicapped. He came to power and he held on to power in a certain way. And some of the things that Trump are doing are echoing that. What else do you want to call it when we shorthand communicate with each other? Fascist, that word has been used, been destroyed too. Hitler, that word has been destroyed. Nazi, that word has been destroyed. What can we call what he is doing when it smells fishy? I mean, the guy said he wants to run for a third time. Give me a fucking break. But she's going to say, that's all just fun and games. It's just all fun and games.
Would give their children back the future they were promised by this country. And it just has to stop.
This is not as long a clip that I had hoped for. But there she is again. There she is again, cosplaying as a populist, pimping for Trump, and doesn't know what she's talking about when she's speaking on economics. If you don't know that lowering interest rates fuels inflation, then you should not speak on the economy. Period. End of story. Done. Like, I speak on things that I don't have, Dave, we all do. We're not the expert class. But you gotta know at least that if interest rates are lowered, inflation goes up. Anyway, this was longer than I had hoped it to be. Maybe there's a little cutting I can do at the end and cut some minutes off. But if this is your first time here, thank you. If you stayed through the whole thing, even more thank you. If you've been here before and are watching this, I mean, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for you. And I truly hope that I will see you back here again soon.